What's up, DFS players? 15 MLB games today, and I'm going to be sharing my favorite player props. So I have some player props on PrizePicks, and hopefully you've been tailing the ones recently. We are definitely on a heater. My 3-pick entry hit, my other 3-pick hockey-only entry hit. So we've been on a complete heater until you get to Klay Thompson. Couldn't get over 3 rebounds in Game 4, but other than that, pretty good last few days. So let's go ahead, let's get into PrizePicks, and let's get into finding some value on PrizePicks with the OddsJam Positive EV tool, right? So this is the most important tool when you're looking for value on PrizePicks because it will show you discrepancies between PrizePicks and the sportsbooks, right? So PrizePicks, as you probably know if you're using this platform, it doesn't matter if you take the overs or the unders, your payout won't change, right? Overs or unders, 20 to win 60, that's just plus 200 odds since this to win column includes your stake, right? 20 to win 60. Doesn't matter if you take the overs or the unders, doesn't matter if you change around the picks, 20 to win 60, right? So what this means is as a DFS player, it's critical to compare PrizePicks to the sportsbooks with the OddsJam Positive EV tool to find value, right? So for example, here you can see John Gray over 17.5 outs. This is heavily juiced on Pinnacle Sportsbook, the sharpest sportsbook in the world, which implies that this bet has a high win probability, right? If a sportsbook is pricing something at minus 300, it's more likely to win, or the sportsbook believes it's more likely to win than if they're pricing something at minus 100 or plus 100, right? So sportsbooks imply win rates for bets based on the market, based on the odds they're offering, which means we can compare PrizePicks to the sportsbooks and look for value. But anyways, so as an example, we can take this John Gray, Jameson pick, 20 to win 60, Jameson over 4.5 strikeouts, John Gray over 17.5 outs, and we can compare that to the payout we'd be getting on Caesars Sportsbook. So on Caesars, you take both overs, you're getting plus 155, right? Minus 169 is what they have for, John Gray over and outs. They have pitching strikeouts at minus 166. You take both overs, you're only getting plus 155. PrizePicks was giving us plus 200 for both overs. Now, on the opposite side, if we take both unders, so we have to go to pitching props. If we take both unders, Jameson under 4.5 strikeouts, John Gray under 17.5 outs, we're getting plus 391, right? Whereas, PrizePicks is giving us plus 200. And that's because, again, it's so critical to understand. That's because the overs are much more likely to hit, right? Which is implied through the sportsbook odds, which is what the OddsJam Positive EV page is showing you, is just huge line discrepancies between PrizePicks and the sportsbooks where a pick is profitable. So for example, here, for John Gray over 17.5 outs, Pinnacle Sportsbook, the sharpest sportsbook in the world, they're pricing this at minus 177. They're pricing the under at plus 131. So if you go to the most important calculator on OddsJam, a zero vig odds calculator, and you remove the juice from Pinnacle's market, this will tell you what their model is implying the win rate for this bet is. So we have Gray over 17.5 outs. Whoops. So we have Gray over 17.5 outs. And the win rate for this pick is going to be 59.61%. So 0.5961. Boom. So we have one pick and our win probability, okay? So again, on PrizePicks, for any 2-pick entry, because you're just getting plus 200 odds, doesn't matter if you're hitting the overs or the unders, you need your player props, right, to be winning at least 57.74% of the time to break even. If you're winning your props 57.74% of the time on PrizePicks, you're going to break even. So if you're winning your player props 60% of the time, you're going to be profitable. If you're winning your player props on PrizePicks 52% of the time, you're going to lose a ton of money, right? And the reason is because if you're winning props 57.74% of the time on PrizePicks, that's your win rate for an individual prop. That would mean you're winning both props 1/3 of the time, which is how often you need to win to break even on PrizePicks. So you want to look for picks, for player props on PrizePicks that have a win probability above 57.73%. So you use real-time odds from Pinnacle Sportsbook, the sharpest sportsbook in the world, to find props that have win rates right above 57.74%. And that's exactly what the OddsJam Positive EV tool will show you, right? Is props with a win rate above 57.74%. So they're showing me this John Gray one, which is pretty dang good. And then if we continue to scroll down, what we can see is here's the player strikeouts prop. Slightly lower EV, so this one is a little worse, but we can see Pinnacle Sportsbook, the sharpest sportsbook in the world, they're pricing this at -169 and the under at +125. -169 +125. So the win rate for this player prop is 0.5857 right here, and then this is over 4.5 strikeouts. So I am gonna stake 250 to win 500, which you can see right here. I already hit it. Gray over, Jameson over in strikeouts, over in pitching outs, over in strikeouts. And again, Caesars was only giving us +155 on both overs. Although they're giving us +391 on both unders, that's because the overs for both players are much more likely to hit. That's why the sportsbooks, in general, every single one has this juiced around -165 odds, right? Because it's much more likely to hit than the under. So that's pretty cool. We can now back out the EV of our PrizePicks entry, right? So we are staking $250 to win 500 in profit. And both of these picks are going to win 34.9% of the time. So we take the win probability for each individual pick, which again, there's no magic going on. We're just using real-time odds from Pinnacle Sportsbook and the industry standard win probability calculator. You take their market, you find the midpoint, and that will tell you what the sportsbook is implying the win probability for a pick is. And obviously, Pinnacle is a much smarter, much sharper, much more efficient betting market than PrizePicks. So if there's discrepancies between Pinnacle and PrizePicks, you should be hammering PrizePicks, right? So here we can see Pinnacle again has the overjuice to -169, the under at +125. So essentially their model is pricing that the over 4.5 strikeouts is 58.57 to hit, right? And then they get their true odds, -141, and then they juice their markets to -161 for the over, +125 for the under, right? That's the way a sportsbook works. That's the way every sportsbook works. So locked it in, 2 picks. The EV is going to be $12 on a $250 stake, 34.9% of the time. We're winning 500 in profit. The other 65.1% of the time, we're losing our $250 stake. So you can back out the EV win probability, 34.9% times 500 minus 65.1% times 250. And again, this joint win probability, the probability both player props on PrizePicks hit, is just this win probability times this probability. These are different games, they're uncorrelated player props, so you just multiply them together. So 4.7% edge on my PrizePicks entry. Hopefully you've been along for the journey. If so, give us a positive comment because we have been absolutely crushing it recently. And again, thanks so much for your time. Hopefully this one today hits. 2 overs, let's make some frickin' money.